Advances in technology haven't just changed the face of warfare forever, they've also brought us closer to the action than ever before, documenting things that you wouldn't believe without video evidence. We rounded up some of the best footage we can find on the internet from conflicts around the world to drop you into a pair of combat boots and show you what it's really like on these battlefields. Tanks, drones, explosions, and other pulse-pounding military events and maneuvers await you in the following clips. So, prepare to get as close to the front lines as you can get from the comfort of your own home. And let's get started. The term trench warfare might conjure up images of World War I as an ancient military tactic, and it does have origins that go all the way back to the 17th century. However, it's still alive and well in modern military operations. This clip from United 24 shows a trio of Ukrainian soldiers taking cover in the relative safety of a trench, knee-deep in mud and muck, and surrounded by the splintered remains of trees ripped down to provide extra safety. They converse with each other before opening fire on unseen enemy combatants who approach from off-screen. Even though this was recorded more than 100 years after World War I, the situation looks shockingly similar. War doesn't always happen in trenches or wide-open battlefields. Sometimes strikes occur in the places that you'd least expect them, with devastating and terrifying results. This clip from Fox 10 Phoenix documents a Russian airstrike on a Ukrainian shopping center, where civilians are going about their daily lives. We first see a couple's peaceful jog interrupted by an explosion that happens too close for comfort. In the confusion, one person jumps into the pond to avoid smoldering debris falling from the sky, while the other runs away from the explosion. Another angle shows women and children rushing to leave the area in the aftermath. On the other side of the planet, we've got footage from January 2016 that showcases the intensity and ferocity of the Mexican cartels. Helmet-mounted GoPros captured this violent standoff between the Mexican Marines and the remaining forces of Joaquin Guzman, better known as the bloodthirsty drug lord El Chapo. This operation was the final stage of a 6-month-long manhunt following Guzman's escape from prison. Over 3 minutes of non-stop automatic gunfire, grenade explosions, and life-threatening tension play out as we follow these soldiers through El Chapo's safe house, clearing out his men before capturing him and taking him into custody once again. From the streets of Mexico, we take to the skies of Venezuela, in footage recorded back in 1992. Near the country's El Libertador airbase, civilians on the ground capture a visceral dogfight between an F-16 fighter jet and an OV-10 Bronco attack and observation aircraft. The OV-10 is no match for the sheer power and speed of the F-16, but it uses its distinct flight traits to stay close to the ground at low speed, making it a difficult target. Unfortunately for the OV-10 pilot Carlos Mictil, his opponent, Jimenez Alcatraz Labarca Soto, is also a masterful pilot, managing to land a critical strike by maneuvering and slowing down almost to the point of stalling before speeding away. As the OV-10 crashes down to earth in flames, you can hear the civilians watching cheering in excitement. Upon further research, we found that Carlos Mictil managed to eject from his aircraft safely and survived the encounter. Our next clip takes us to 2016 Iraq, just before the end of the war. In it, we see Iraqi forces backed up by a fearsome M1A1 Abrams tank as an SUV driven by ISIS forces bears down on them. Given the terrorist faction's penchant for explosions and fatal tactics, the Iraqi soldiers assume that the vehicle is rigged to explode. A tense handful of seconds pass as the danger builds, and then the Abrams launches an M829 kinetic energy penetrator round at the approaching assailant, landing a powerfully destructive direct hit. And judging by the subsequent massive explosion, it's safe to say that their assumption about the vehicle being packed with explosives was correct. In the blown-out husk of what looks to be apartment buildings, this next clip shows us a near-death experience for one Ukrainian soldier. In the broken glass and rubble of what was once a peaceful place, a Russian sniper zeroes in on a squad of Ukrainian forces. In what could have been an unwise decision bringing about his end of service, One Ukrainian attempts to eliminate the sniper by peeking out of a destroyed window into an open square and opening fire. Seconds later, a plume of dust and powder coats the Ukrainian as a sniper round misses his skull by inches. He doesn't push his luck further and moves away from the window immediately. It's also probably safe to assume that he needed a change of underwear. The clip coming up next illustrates the terror of drone warfare from the perspective of those who experience it. This helmet cam footage follows two Russian soldiers who are vulnerable and exposed after losing their vehicle to a landmine. Nerves rattled and resolve shaken, they suddenly hear the telltale whir of drone blades, a sound that typically spells a painful and explosive fate for those targeted. The drone circles on the Russians as they open fire on it, attempting to shoot it down before it can strike. Their shots miss, and the drone turns tail several times before finally crashing down and exploding far enough away from the Russians to leave them unscathed. They can be counted among the lucky few who have managed to survive an FPV drone strike.
Forward, forward! دير بالكم دير بالكم الجراء دير بالكم دير بالكم.
And for our final clip, we have something that sounds more like a scene straight out of Looney Tunes rather than actual wartime footage. This unbelievable clip was captured by a surveillance drone in December of 2024 and shows what can happen to soldiers when a concentrated explosion goes off in the safety of a trench or foxhole. First, there's an explosion. A massive plume of smoke reaches high into the sky, followed by dirt and debris. But wait a minute, that's not debris. As the drone passes by the smoke cloud, a dark shape comes into focus. In fractions of a second, it becomes clear that the dark shape is actually a human being that was launched dozens, perhaps even hundreds of feet into the air. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that he had a parachute with him. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos just like this. Until next time,